Yo, 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 what is up, guys? Jacobshadowminer here, and welcome back to another episode of Voice Chat Vibes. We are on episode 4. It feels so long since I've actually done one of these. Alex, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, sweet. Alright.
You do your thing.
Everything got perfectly done. Okay. Anyways, so it feels like it's been so long since I've done one of these, and it feels great to be back. Technically we'd be on episode 5. There's always something goes on with this podcast, but we would technically be on episode 5 right now. But no, episode 4. Sorry, this is episode 3, guys. This is episode 3. Okay, just so everybody knows, this is episode 3. We would be on episode 4 right now. But we did one about a few months ago, and then I got super busy. So yeah, we're on episode 3 because I lost the VOD episode 4, so that one never really saw the light of day for episode 3 there. So yeah, we're on episode 3 again. It's like the multiverse. It's like Loki. We just went back in time and we're redoing episode 3 again. Speaking of Marvel, that's actually our topic for today. We're going to be talking Captain America. We're going to be talking Nintendo Switch 2. And then we're going to be delving into... Let me get my notes pulled up. Alright. Well, if I can find them. Oh, and Alex, yes, right. We're going to do your sports corner first after the 2 main topics. We're going to do Pokemon Day because that's coming up. And we're going to do meme coins. And to finish it off on a silly note, we're going to do some... We're just going to talk about some silly TikTok trends that are going around right now. But anyways, guys, a lot of you guys tuning into this, I really appreciate you guys. You guys are freaking amazing, and it's just, we do this live every Thursday, and we release the VOD next day on Spotify and YouTube. So it's just the fact that you're showing up is super amazing to us. But anyways, we have our regular guest on, Alex, Mr. Rocketman. How are you freaking doing today?
I'm doing great. Let's get the show on the road. I'm pumped.
Dude, how does it feel to be back? Now that I got my schedule, I've been consistent, 6 days now, and I've been sticking to my schedule, which is, for me it's a little bit challenging, the ADHD and all that kind of stuff. It's here I am. I'm about to finish the week out, and it's like I've been pretty much consistent every day.
Feels good.
It's so amazing. After I finish this week off, I can't wait till next week and the week after that. And then as soon as you know it, the whole year is going to be over, and then it's time for another year.
Oh, yeah.
Alright. Let me do. I was going to check something out. Going to check chat out because we usually on these we don't check chat that much, because we're more or less doing this for the recording, but we still try to keep up with it. So we see a lot of you guys coming in. You guys are freaking amazing. Anyways, yeah, so absolutely. Alex, I seen your tweet. You seen Captain America, I think.
I have. Yeah,
awesome.
I saw it last night.
Nice. All right. I'll start off with what I thought. To me, this new Captain America, every Marvel phase starts with the Captain America, because that's how the MCU started out pretty much. It felt, because, Captain America is one of the original Avengers. I mean, but then again, we have a new Captain America. This is a different Captain America. And I think if Marvel continues going in this direction with storytelling, where, okay, if they need to change a character, say an actor does something crazy, then they could swap out in between phases. I personally think that's the way they should be doing it. But anyways, they got a new Captain America. I don't know. For me, I'm not sure about you because we'll get to you here in a second. But like, for me, for a lot of people, I guess I would assume it feels like it would feel like, okay, well, it's Captain America. Nothing really major went on. But like, for me, anyways, there's fans that watch, just Marvel, and that's fine. But well, me, I'm a big Star Wars fan. So I've seen The Mandalorian lately. I've seen Ahsoka. I just watch all of it because I'm a huge Star Wars geek. So for me, for others, I would assume, okay, well, it's a Marvel movie. It's Captain America. It's got Harrison Ford in it. It's got this random guy. So many people. But for me, this was, even though they didn't do their typical, Marvel intro, they didn't do their typical crossovers. However, they did do their typical end credit scene. For me, it was the biggest Marvel crossover event, actually, because, coming from, like, being a Star Wars fan, all that kind of stuff, for me, it was, holy crap, Han Solo is the president of, like, America. And then that guy that was part of that group that was trying to take over all the security guards and, like, attack the president, that's freaking Moff Gideon from The Mandalorian. So
Gus Fring.
Oh yes, Gus. Yes, Gus. Oh my gosh. There were so many people that you and me have noticed that, for us anyways, it just made it that much special. It's like, oh my god, Harrison Ford. Oh my god, freaking Moff. It's just like, it's amazing. So, even though they didn't like really do any like references towards Star Wars and other stuff, it was nice. It was amazing to have them on there, and but like, I can add on. As much as amazing as it was, I do like the story. It's a coming up story. It's a hero. This is a story I will love for my entire life because I've lived through it. Panthers, just in life in general. A hero, like Mandalorian also is a perfect example of this kind of story. A hero that is not meant to be the hero becomes the hero. That, to me, is an amazing thing because heroes are not perfect, by all means. Not every hero is a Superman. Not every hero is a Tony Stark. Not every hero comes from the rich family life, parents die, that sort of thing. All heroes are different. I put out a tweet a few weeks ago. Every hero is flawed. A hero's journey is not perfect. It should never be perfect. If it's perfect, it's wrong. As Disney says, those kind of heroes, they live long enough to die a hero, or they live long enough to see themselves become the villain. That is, to me, it's true. But those kinds of heroes are people that came up from the easy way. Not every hero is like that. Every hero is different. You look at Loki. Loki started out a villain, and now look at him. He's controlling the entire MCU timeline. But his beginnings weren't great. He was against the Avengers like 90% of every movie, so now he is an Avenger. Then you have, I seen a trailer of a movie that's actually getting ready to come out. A whole bunch, I guess you can call them the anti-Avengers. All these villains that appeared in movies like Captain America movies and stuff like that, like Winter Soldier, stuff like that, Bucky, all this team that got together, all these people that, everybody looks down on them, but, you got the Avengers, they're not here anymore. The Avengers are disbanded, and there's a big threat coming to the world, and it's on these guys to save the whole world. That right there just amazes me. Because it doesn't matter who you are or what you've done. The fact that you can do something, the fact that you can be who you want to be, is just phenomenal. And that kind of storytelling will always be something to me, because even though the new Captain America doesn't have the serum, he does not have superpowers, he's just a normal human being like you and me, he can do great things. It's his mind. It's his ability to overcome. It's his ability to think outside the box. Very similar to Tony Stark. You know, Tony Stark never had powers. It's his mind. His mind, from being Hawkeye, you know, sharp, concisive, very intuitive, to use all this technology and use the shield to his advantage. That right there is what makes him a hero. It is not the superpowers, it is not the talents, it is his ability to think outside of the box and his work ethic. And that, just that in general, that is so freaking amazing to me, because Marvel, I think, is heading in the right direction. Before, you had a whole bunch of Avengers that had superpowers, that had all these big things. Now you've got people you would have never imagined becoming Avengers. And those people were all chosen, all given those roles for very specific reasons. Giving people something to look up to. That is something I can appreciate. However, even though I'm praising the even though I'm praising this whole thing, my mic might be peaking a little bit. Whoopsie. I'll have to fix that later. I might stand back a little bit, but even though I'm praising the story for what it is, there is some flaws into it. Every Marvel story has a flaw. No story's perfect. I myself try to write the perfect story. It is. I can tell you right now, it's not easy. Marvel. One little nitpick I did not like about Marvel's thing is if they were going to go the whole route of, you know, showing people can be who they want to be, there can be redemption. I didn't like the way they handled Han Solo. I didn't like the way they handled Harrison Ford's story. Yes, you know, he's got this battle. He's trying to fight within himself. He's not perfect, as we could all tell. He's like, the whole world's against him. It's just, I wish at the end, I don't want to spoil it for you guys, so a lot of you guys are like tuning in right now. I'll try to avoid the spoiler warning, but
I put spoiler warning in chat just in case.
Okay, yeah, spoiler warning, guys. Yeah. I'll try to avoid the spoiler. I'll even put a little thing on the VOD for later. But at the end, you know, he turns into the Red Hulk, destroys the White House. Okay, to me, that would be in that world, to me, that would of course be an impeachable offense. I mean, not gonna lie, but I mean, I feel like they did give him a decent ending, but I mean, I think it would have been a lot more powerful if they would have given him the kind of like, oh my gosh, you know, what am I doing? Like, before he even went on the rampage, to like calm down and prove to the whole world, okay, I'm actually a good person. And he is, because, you know, at the end of his rampage, he calmed down and he got with his daughter, and, you know, everything was right in the world. I think they should have, you know, done it differently. I think right there, as soon as he turned into the Hulk, he should have calmed down. And then they could have, you know, had their perfect ending, in my opinion. You know, it fits that kind of storytelling I think they're kind of going for. To me, it seems like they just treated, I don't know, we'll see what you think, Alex, but like, to me, it seemed like they did the same thing Star Wars did Han Solo. They just brought him in, cut him out, And I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of stuff on the table they left that he could have still done. But yeah, what is your thoughts on the story? Because I know you just watched it, so it's still fresh on your mind.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. It's definitely, it felt, especially with how much the plot was revolved around Harrison Ford's character, it felt like it was a little mismanaged, especially at the ending, like you said, with how his transformation into the Red Hulk. I mean, it was teased a little bit earlier on in the movie, and he managed to suppress it and whatnot, but it did feel sort of out of character, I guess, because there's the whole plot revolves around this guy who's after for revenge to tarnish Harrison Ford's character's name because of their previous history together, and it just sort of felt mismanaged. I definitely was expecting a more cohesive plot development with his character arc. I was thinking it was going to be handled better. I thought the action, as far as just the movie as a whole, I thought the action was done really well. The fight scenes were choreographed pretty decently. I thought one of the weird things I thought was spoiler again, but I feel like we've already kind of crossed that line.
Yeah, that line's way crossed.
Yeah, we're way past it. So if you're watching this and you're upset that you're getting the movie spoiled for you, honestly, it's on you.
Yeah, honestly, at this point, and honestly, you've not missed anything. Like, I feel like for you, if you see this movie, you're gonna watch it anyways. It's gonna feel like Squid Game seasons 2 to you. You're like, what the heck, man?
Right. Yeah. But no, but one of the things that kind of drove me nuts was at one point Giancarlo Esposito's character was sort of a background character, but kind of important. There was a fight scene that made it very obvious that he was supposed to be killed at the end of the fight, and then he just shows up again later on in the movie, and he's without a scratch, which really kind of rubbed me the wrong way. That felt really strange. But I know I've heard that there's been throughout the duration of the movie making process that there were things that were changed in the script, and I think they said they actually changed directors in the middle of filming and everything too. So
okay, I didn't hear all that. What?
I don't know for sure about the director thing, but I know I've heard reports that the actors that came out and said that there was stuff that was changed in the script as they were filming it, and so that probably is a good explanation for why everything kind of felt discombobulated.
I mean, it is Marvel. I mean, I wouldn't put it against them.
Yeah.
But one thing that actually you mentioned kind of like sparked my memory a little bit. It also like kind of put me off on the movie just a little bit. I did not like how because they're continuing, like, well, at least the way they seem still, they're continuing for that hero coming up out of nowhere kind of thing. And I think, I mean, unless Harrison Ford had a contract that, and that's usually how the business works a lot, too, unfortunately. I think Harrison Ford had a lot of potential. He's freaking Han Solo, he's in a different universe. Like, there's so much you could do with this character that, he's running up for re-election. It makes me want to cringe because there's so much loose ends that, I mean, of course, we'll find out later. It's Marvel. They're all about loose ends. Hopefully the book I'm writing and the stories I tell in the future, I don't leave that many loose ends. But, he's running for re-election. Of course, he doesn't get re-elected. I mean, to be fair, but then I wish he would have still, so it could be like a different kind of story. We had this battle, this all-out war between Japan and I think India, and there was a different country, I can't really remember.
France, I think.
France, yes. But it was mainly, I mean, I know it was like the 3 countries that were going after this new element, of course, but in that fight scene we seen it was only Japan and America. Those other 2 were kind of cut off, which I didn't like there. And after that whole thing is resolved, we don't know truly I mean, they kind of hint towards it, but we don't know truly if there's peace between Japan and America in this world. I mean, it's Marvel. They could be like, okay, they could be like throwing a bunch of nukes at each other and we'll just slap a different universe. I mean, who cares? But to me, I care. I care about every single individual universe and what goes on, because that's just good storytelling. I mean, you shouldn't treat storytelling as like a, okay, well, if I screw it up, I could just slap a band-aid on it and call it a day. No. That's not how storytelling works.
I think part of it, actually going back to what you said about that with Japan, I think it was sort of resolved and sort of left on an open end, because in that whole scene, Japan and U.S. are going back and forth. The two pilots of the U.S. jets have been mind controlled and whatnot, and they start shooting at the Japanese ships and whatnot. And you see Sam and I forgot the character's name already, his sidekick, who was training to become the new Falcon. You see them go out and they are trying to make it a point of, hey, do not shoot at these guys, do not shoot at these Japanese ships or these pilots. We're going to take care of it, so that way they know that we are not trying to start a war. But I do agree, though, in terms of in character, I guess it sort of makes sense for President Ross. I think it was because it's Secretary Ross, and then the actual actor passed away, and that's why Harrison Ford took over that character. But it makes sense for him to not try to run for re-election after the whole Red Hulk incident. That kind of shows his character growth throughout the movie a little bit, in terms of, hey, I want to show that I'm a changed man, especially because of his troubled history being the secretary. I think he said he was the Secretary of Defense for the military and whatnot in previous movies and that. So I think that actually kind of makes sense to me, but there were definitely some loose ends that it would have been nice if they would have sort of addressed a little bit.
Yeah, I do see your point. I'm not hating on the way they told the story, because I do think, at the end of the day, they did tell their story. I mean, like you said, he decided to step down. He took the ultimate sacrifice. He put himself in a jail cell, working out his sentence. That right there shows true character. And I mean, as much as we all wanted him to get reelected, well, at least some of us anyways, It does so, but then again, there's still the loose ends that I feel like Marvel was kind of been working on, but they still need to work on it. But that also, speaking of like loose ends and like weird storytelling, on a side note, before we get into our next thing, Star Wars president and CEO has stepped down, Kathleen. I think I said her name right. I'm a Star Wars fan, guys. I promise. I'm not bad. So she has stepped down, and that is a very controversial thing, because depending on how you see it, she's like the literal incarnation of the devil, and to ruin Star Wars, or she's like the best thing that's ever happened to Star Wars, and she's saved the whole thing, but she's not really done much. So for me, I'm kind of in between. I like the new Star Wars projects. I love everything to do with Star Wars. Me personally, if I was in charge of Star Wars, I would be doing anything and everything I can to expand the universe and make it more immersive and about your story, rather than a set of 3 protagonists or 4 protagonists. But anyways, what do you think about that?
For me personally, I honestly... The only things, since Disney bought Star Wars, the IP, the only things I've actually decently enjoyed from the Star Wars universe have been the Force Awakens, the first movie in the new trilogy. I want to say Rogue One was under Disney. I actually thought Rogue One was really good, and I thought Season 1 and parts of Season 2 of Mandalorian were good, but other than that, I honestly have not really cared much about Star Wars. I personally, I feel like it's been mismanaged, but I definitely understand, if someone is a big fan of how it's been handled by Disney, I can definitely understand that. Me personally, I'm not really a big fan, so I don't really have any sort of emotional connection to that CEO stepping down. I don't really have anything positive or negative. I've kind of just become apathetic because I think this is just Disney as a whole, since Disney Plus has kind of started running the show as far as how they handle Marvel and Star Wars and everything. Constantly pushing new TV shows, new movies, just churning content out constantly. I've just fallen way out with it, and I don't really have any sort of desire to try to catch back up. But that's just me.
I agree with you. I 100%. I am not split between, oh my gosh, she's amazing, and like, oh my gosh, she's terrible. But I personally think, it is time for a change. Like I was saying earlier, and whoever becomes the new CEO, I doubt you're ever going to watch my face, or you're ever going to hear my voice. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm that big enough yet. But I hope you do see this and hear us out at least. I think, like I was saying earlier, I think the best way, and I think Disney is going in the right direction with this. I think the best way to get Star Wars to continue on in the future, if that's what Disney want to do, is to make just expand the universe in so many ways. Expand it. Mandalorian's done a great job of that so far. Those Star Wars stories, those told individual stories. Now, do that in the future. Give somebody else, like what Marvel's doing, give somebody a chance to step up, someone that's not meant to be the hero, somebody that's not the perfect Jedi, somebody that does not work the perfect Jedi way. That's why the purple lightsaber exists, by the way. Even no pun intended, even though that's my favorite color. The purple lightsaber is someone who's perfectly balanced and torn between the dark side and the light side. So by all means, not perfect at all. So do that. Get somebody else their story, and then also let fans make their own stories. Very similar to Minecraft. That's why Minecraft is so popular. Yes, why I got it on the screen today. I choose things for a reason. I'm very specific for a reason, and today's story, this one in particular, I chose Minecraft because that tells a lot. So let fans have their own stories too. Make a lot more virtual reality experiences. Expand onto the Disney World Park. Expand onto the Disneyland Park. Let fans be themselves. Don't have the parks be a specific time period. Have it be now. Let fans make their own stories. To me, that, I don't know, I might be pissing off a whole bunch of Star Wars fans right now, but to me, that's what Star Wars should be doing, because it lets people write their own stories. It lets people have somebody to look up to. And I don't know, to me that seems like the best direction for Star Wars to go. Before I make anyone else mad like that, I'm going to go ahead and hand over to the Nintendo Switch 2, and we're going to be making, I don't know, more people mad maybe? I don't know. I doubt it. Alright, so we're getting very close. It is now February 27th. April's coming around the corner. The Nintendo Switch Direct is getting ready to come out. We've all had our Nintendo Switches for about 8 years now. I've had my launch Switch since I picked it up at a dim mall parking lot back in 2017 for 8 years. Thing is holding up great, by the way. I'm not sure. I've heard a lot of people have not had the same experience, but I've loved mine. I always play mine. I take mine with me everywhere it goes with me. I've just always been a big Nintendo fan. I have never been Team Xbox, Team this, Team that. I've always been Nintendo first and PC. I've kind of got into the Xbox ecosystem a little bit because Bethesda is now owned by Xbox Game Studios, former Microsoft Game Studios. And of course, Minecraft is. I'm in that ecosystem a little bit, because I got friends on there and all that kind of stuff. But it's not like, oh my gosh, I freaking love. No, I am strict Steam and Switch. Nothing else. And Nintendo Switch 2 coming up has a lot of improvements. I hope the rumors and leaks that everybody put out there are worth it. Because before we hear your opinion, Alex, me at first when these leaks were coming out, I was thinking, oh well, this is Nintendo. Nintendo's very quiet-lipped. All these leaks are coming out. When the Nintendo Switch launched, we were seeing all these out-of-pocket, all these crazy things. And it's like, what the heck? You got this little PSP-looking thing. That didn't wind up being the Nintendo Switch. You got this freaking, I remember, thing that, like, folds out and looks like a Nintendo 3DS. You had so many ideas of what the Nintendo NX was going to look like. And then the Nintendo Switch actually happens, and none of those leaks were true. So I was assuming that, you had all these ideas. Oh, this is what the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to look like. And then, well, it started getting more and more and more closely accurate. You had, at one point, you even had, like, manufacturers that were, like, licensed by Nintendo and worked closely with Nintendo leaking this thing. And it's like, oh my gosh, this isn't the Nintendo we're used to. Like, old Nintendo would be like sending out a whole bunch of freaking ninjas and freaking warlords and like causing World War III for stuff like this. But this Nintendo is very weird. Nothing happened. I mean, they showed up, they pulled up to, I think it was, I forgot what vendor it was, but they pulled up to CES and they're like, yo, hey, what you doing here? You're showing our product before we haven't even launched it. And I don't know if everything ever happened with that, but that's a story I heard. And I don't know, the whole thing's weird. I don't know what you think about it, but like, for me, when the actual Switch launch came out, the leaks were getting me hyped up. I was thinking, okay, well, Nintendo's got to do a 360. There's got to be set Nintendo magic, they throw in there that proves everybody wrong. Make it flashy, do something. Nothing. It was just it wasn't amazing. It was relieving to finally see that we have a Nintendo Switch 2. But the leaks ruined it for me. And It was just like, oh great, we're getting our new iPhone here, whoop-de-doo, But I don't know what you think about it, but I don't know, for me it's just underwhelming.
Yeah, I agree. I think definitely all of the leaks basically forced Nintendo's hand to just go ahead and announce it. I truly believe that if not for the leaks, Nintendo would have pushed off the announcement until probably like early March. So we're at around this time, late February, early March. I think Nintendo would have just pushed that off, but the leaks just kept coming and they kept getting more and more attention. I think eventually Nintendo just said, all right, at this point, it's already out there. People know it's happening. We need to just go ahead and announce it and confirm it, so that way we can have the attention. Whenever people talk about Nintendo, about the Switch 2, they're talking about Nintendo, not talking about whoever's leaking it. So I agree. It's definitely it feels like it's not really much of a new console as much as it is just a performance improvement, sort of like you think the Xbox Series X. The Xbox One X compared to the Xbox One, you think kind of something similar to that, where it's not a new console, it's just a performance boost, it's more modern. I think they said that the Switch 2 is going to be equal, as far as performance, is going to be equal to PS4 Pro, which is, granted, still a few years behind the PS5, but it's a big jump compared to where Switch 1 stacks up to the consoles currently, so... Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it.
Well, based on some of the rumors I've heard, at least I can kind of assume they're true now because, they were like 100% spot on with their leaks. The Switch is going to be in a very interesting position. So, apparently over the past 8 years, NVIDIA has been working on upscaling technology, and they've been finding ways to actually, and this is going to sound very interesting, because this is something you would never imagine, unless I'm wrong, and I just say the most stupidest thing on the internet right now, which I have done in the past, but I heard they're going to have a way to underclock the processor. And in some ways, in some form or fashion, NVIDIA, they're using their Tiger processors, which is stuff they use for servers and all that. But this one's customly designed for the Switch, very similar to how AMD does their things. And because it's designed for the Switch, it's designed for battery life, it's designed for functionality, and I think they did a perfect job with the Nintendo Switch. I mean, at first, the Switch 1 battery life wasn't too good, but they found a way to take the same chip and increase the battery life. So they are working on this, and they're talking about they've figured out a way to potentially allow for slight ray tracing, light, some kind of lighting, and allow for slight 4K. I'm not sure how true this one is. This one might be a little bit of a stretch, but slight 4K upscaling when docked. That, to me, sounds just a tad bit more powerful than the PS4 Pro. I mean, when you're in handheld mode, you're not expecting no ray tracing. You're not expecting no freaking, 4K. I mean, that would kill your battery instantly. Like, if you're playing handheld, you're expecting battery life. You're expected to get on a plane. Yeah.
We're a few years out still from handhelds being able to match
consoles. Way.
We're still out.
Well, you don't know. You never know. If they could find a way to power that Microsoft Quantum chip that just came out, imagine carrying a freaking portable sun with you, 'cause that's what it's going to take. That might be it, but no. That portable quantum chip, that's going to take that's going to take a freaking nuclear plant to power. I mean, at least from my perspective, I don't know. I've not looked too much into it, but that's the whole thing. But you
remember?
Oh yeah, sorry.
You remember Wally? How he would have the solar panels on the front of his chest or whatever?
I remember.
That's basically what that is. You're just gonna have to be walking around with a portable solar panel at all times.
Oh my gosh. Oh no. Oh, and hold on, guys, hold on. My 10 minutes. You go to a convention, you're battling somebody in Pokemon, and 20 minutes. Hold on. I gotta go outside and charge my gaming system. Oh my god. But you're playing handheld. You're expecting you're expecting battery life. It's like your cell phone. You want in a perfect world, a cell phone would last all week, honestly. And in a perfect world, a gaming console would last all week. But we don't live in a perfect world just yet. So I'm glad, I've been able to pull out, hold 2 days out of my Switch sometimes. And I've been able to pull out a day on my Switch. Like I said, my Switch is a day one Switch, but I guess I got lucky with the battery. So I've never had battery issues. But I do think they're increasing the battery life on the Nintendo Switch 2, which is going to be very welcoming, because the Switch 2, and thank God for this, the Switch 2 is going to be more comfortable to hold. Right now, okay, don't get me wrong, I love Joy-Cons. Alex knows me, most of the people who know me. I know and love graphics design. I've enjoyed it my whole freaking life. And I love how aesthetically pleasing the Joy-Cons are as of now, because, they kind of resemble the same design language. When products are designed, logos are designed, you want to keep the same kind of graphical language across the whole thing. And I love how Nintendo does the best job at that. However, there's a thing called a balance between function and I can't think of the second word. Function and I'll just make something up on the fly. Visual and function. There you go. Visual and function. And visuals, you have to make a choice. There can be in-betweens. I've worked on in-betweens. But it's either about the vision or it's about the functionality. Nintendo went the visionary route, and functionality is not too there. Because, okay, don't get me wrong, I like how for the first few minutes, maybe an hour or two, the Switch is comfortable to hold in your hands, unless you got big hands and it's kind of tiny. But however, oh my gosh, yeah, I hate it, and you probably face the same issue too. How the corners cut into your hand, and you could be sitting there for like hours, and eventually it'll cut your freaking circulation off. Like, yeah. Oh, I hate that, man. I hate it. So I'm glad. I'm thankfully glad that, and I think Nintendo kind of chose the middle route here between visionary and function, because the Joy-Cons do still resemble the Nintendo Switch logo, and even the dock too kind of looks like the Switch logo a little bit too. So it keeps that kind of same design language across the board there. But it's more comfortable. The Switch is expanding. The Joy-Cons are bigger, so that, that right there did prove one leak wrong, that it's going to be backwards compatible with Joy-Con. Well, technically it still will if you connect through Bluetooth, but you're not going to be putting in old Joy-Cons, because it's going to look weird. I mean, I personally wouldn't do that, because you're going to have tiny Joy-Con on a big... No, it would be weird. I don't know. But
it would look weird.
Yeah, and there's even the which I think is interesting, because now we're using magnetic Joy-Cons. There's going to be the fact that you can now use the Switch in any mode whatsoever, and what I mean by that, it could be upside down, like logo facing down, and you can, that way, they claim it's to change how, where the audio jack is. I think, and this is going to sound bad, I think Nintendo's made the Switch idiot-proof. Because a lot of the people sliding the Joy-Cons on upside down, now you cannot break the Nintendo Switch 2, at least I think, because you can now use it upside down.
The only thing is going to be on the actual sides of the consoles where the thing plugs in, is making sure those are, those little parts that stick out.
Yeah.
That are actually going to slide into the Joy-Con, making sure that those are sturdy and not easy to break. That's the only thing.
From what I've heard, and there were some reviewers that even said this before they even had their hands on, it surprises them how sturdy it is, because apparently Nintendo's designed it in a way that the mechanism that slides onto the connector and the connector itself, it's kind of like one of my friends said earlier, it's kind of like USB-C. It's something that you would imagine would break very easily, but it's something that's surprisingly really sturdy. So I've heard from a couple people that it's kind of comparable to USB-C, where it's something you think would break, but apparently it's sturdy, but we don't know yet. We don't know until we actually get the console. And I personally won't be getting a early Switch 2. And I think you know why, Alex, because I'm going to wait it out and see what goes on, because I'm perfectly fine with my Switch right now. They're going to be continuing to support the Switch for probably a few more years anyways. And, it's like Windows 10, I held on to the very end, and, it's 2025, and here I am upgraded because it's getting ready to be end of life. But I'm not going to wait that long with the Switch. I just want to see what happens. I don't want to buy a Nintendo Switch and I'm going to take on a plane or a car or anywhere, and the thing's going to catch fire in my pocket. Because I think a lot of people learned a lesson with the Samsung Galaxy Note 7.
Literally blowing up.
Oh my god.
That's still crazy that was actually a thing that happened. That's still insane.
Did you ever hear about why that happened?
I didn't really ever do research into it. I know it was something about the way the battery was constructed, I think.
Well, yeah. It wasn't the battery. Okay, you're going to love this. So, before you head into your sports corner here in a second, the battery didn't have enough time to swell. I know that sounds bad, because you would assume batteries don't swell. Batteries do swell. They swell to a degree, but not dangerous levels. All batteries expand, and they all de-expand. I just made up a whole new word there. So they made, because they were thinking about design over functionality, they made the compartment so small that it didn't give enough room for the battery to expand. Now, in a perfect world, like a lot of manufacturers think, they think safety and functionality over design. I mean, that's how it should be. And they put just a millimeter, like very, very slight gap for that battery to kind of expand, because what that expanding is doing, it's releasing that heat, it's releasing that energy potential, it's releasing everything, and then as it slowly finishes charging, it slowly calms down. What the Note 7 was doing was people were charging their batteries, and it might not even have blown up while it was charging. Batteries take time to deflate, but that battery was pressing up against that compartment, and all that kinetic energy, all that energy didn't have anywhere to go. So it was building and building and building until it became a ticking time bomb. It wasn't a matter of if it was going to explode, it was a matter of when. and the thing just would tear to pieces because all that kinetic energy didn't have anywhere to go, and just boom, popped on planes and cars and everywhere.
That's crazy.
You might as well compare it to like a balloon popping,
Yeah.
pretty much. But anyways, it's your sports corner time.
One last thing on the Switch.
Oh, yeah.
That you said a few minutes ago you're gonna wait a little bit and give it time. I think that's probably a good idea, even though Nintendo's probably been developing this thing for years at this point. It's always probably a good idea. I know the pressure and the desire is to go out day one, be the first in line to buy it. It's always good to let it give it at least give it 2 weeks to get into get into reviewers' hands. Maybe try to find a verifiable reviewer of consoles or whatnot on YouTube, someone that you can trust, and wait for them, hear their thoughts on it, hear what they think on the design, the performance, everything before you decide. I'm in the same boat. If I probably will end up eventually getting one, because I never got a Switch 1, surprisingly. You might not believe it, but I never have actually had a Switch 1, and I'm stoked for the Switch 2, but I do want to give it just a little bit of time to make sure that if I'm buying it, it's something I feel comfortable with as far as the quality goes.
I 100% agree. That fear of missing out is a very powerful thing. It makes you, it makes you want to do so many. In a way, FOMO is a lot like it's like crack cocaine. It makes you want to just jump on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, but it makes you think not. It makes you jump the gun before you have time to think. And to be fair, a lot of the people, I'm not saying don't go to launch night parties, because we've all enjoyed launch night parties. All launch night parties can be amazing, and I personally think launch parties should make a comeback. However, what we just told you, you don't want to buy something that could be bad or has a bunch of bugs. I think Cyberpunk's 2077 has taught us that lesson, and Samsung has taught us that lesson. But then again, I do see, like what you said earlier, I see Nintendo. Nintendo's had so long to work on this, they've perfected it. Nintendo is known for perfecting things. So, do you people who, like me, to a degree, and Alex that has been to launch parties, have hope on your side? You have the analytics, you got the stats on your side, technically, because Nintendo can't ever really get anything wrong, but they're not perfect. Nobody's perfect in this world. I'd still say wait it out for like a month. Wait it out for 2 months. If it were somebody else, I would say, okay, maybe hold it out for a few months. But this is Nintendo we're talking about. So, yeah, I'm going to say is if there's no problems, get yourself a Nintendo Switch 2. It's going to have more power. There's going to be so many more developers supporting it. You're not going to have a bad time. Nintendo's found their thing. They're probably going to continue updating the same for years. And as much as I'm a big innovator and all about making new ideas and like changing the world and all that kind of stuff, I think Nintendo's found their thing. They found their stability, and I think that is perfect for Nintendo. Even though I'm all for them being the innovative company, they still are being innovative, like making silly, stupid things like the Alarmo and stuff like that. And they can still do stuff like that, but I think they found their thing to settle down while still being their same old Nintendo ways. But I think they found their thing, and I'm all about it. So, Alex, Sports Corner. I'll start off with the most craziest thing. I want to know your opinion on it.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers to the Steelers.
Aaron Rodgers to the Steelers?
That's what I've been hearing.
See, okay, so from a division rival perspective, I would love that because Aaron Rodgers clearly is not his old self. Just from a fan perspective, as a fan of football, why? Steelers, why? You are... and like me and my dad have talked about this. I think we even... Sorry for the plug real quick, but we did a stream of the Ravens versus Steelers wildcard game a little over a month ago, whenever that game was. And on stream, we were talking about why the Steelers have completely screwed up ever since Ben Roethlisberger was in his final years, when it was apparent that he was getting ready to retire, and the Steelers never drafted his protege, his backup, their future franchise quarterback. They've always... Since then, well, they've drafted a few guys, but none of them have panned out, and they've kind of been a plug and play where they'll go out and sign a guy in free agency for like a 2-year contract or whatever, and that's what they did last year. They went and signed Justin Fields from Chicago because Chicago was clearly moving forward with Caleb Williams and was not going to have Justin Fields as part of their future plans. So the Steelers go sign Justin Fields, which I like that move, even as a division rival. I thought that was a really good move for them. Then they go and sign Russell Wilson. He's on the last legs of his career. He's probably done, or maybe only has one more stop in the league after this. And all the reports come out that the Steelers are only going to re-sign one of those two guys. Both guys are on expired contracts now, and they're both free agents. Steelers are probably, I don't know, they haven't really came out yet and said which way they're leaning, but they're going to sign one of those two guys. If it were me, I would sign Justin Fields. He has a brighter future. He has more of a career path in the league, but that's just me. And from the Steelers' perspective, it just seems short-sighted, and it seems like they'd just be making the same mistake again if they go and sign Aaron Rodgers. He's in his last year. I don't care where he signs. If he plays this season, this is his last year in the league. He's done after this. And I just, from a rival's perspective, I would love that move because it would be funny to see the Steelers continue to stumble over themselves and make the same mistakes they've been making. But from a football fan perspective, I just don't understand that for Pittsburgh. I don't get it.
I am right there with you. Like, I'm not going to cry over the Steelers because you and me used to have a coach. I'm not sure if you remember Coach. What was his name? Coach. It's not Jai Stab. Steiner. Coach Steiner. Man, that man. When I just cause I was still a Ravens fan. I think my freshman year, I would always be going in there talking Ravens. He'd be like, "Oh no, man, Ravens are trash. You know, Steelers has got like 3 Super Bowls." Man, now I wish I could see a look on his face and be like, "Look at the Ravens now, man."
Well, as far as regular season goes, yeah, but in the playoffs we can't really say much.
Oh,
Either,
I know.
but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, same as I can't really say nothing about the Panthers either, because I would immediately be flattened like a pancake if I went into like Charlotte or freaking Saints territory. I'd be done.
Yeah.
but anyways, so yeah, I as much like you, as much as I really don't care about the Steelers that much, including why I don't really like David Tepper that much either. But I mean, him being a minority owner of the Steelers, it's why he came from that tree. He came from that branch of the world. I don't know. Maybe he came from the winning culture. I don't know. I still don't know. But I just don't care really. But then again, we're going to step in my logical side here. I hope they don't see this because I'm not trying to give them an advantage. Because this is how I would do it. Okay. So how I see it is they're in a cap nightmare, and I think you can agree. They've got Aaron Rodgers. They don't know what the heck they're going to be doing with Russell Wilson. They got Justin Fields. You've got, in my opinion, 3 starting caliber quarterbacks. Where's your backup in that situation?
I think it's not even. I don't think it's even about who's your backup. It's about who are you going to have as your franchise guy going forward. That's
exactly.
why I think they should re-sign Justin Fields because he's way younger than the other two. He has the ability to develop. I think he's a talented guy that has just been dealt a terrible hand as far as the situations he's found himself in. Because you think back to Chicago, he had I think 3 different coordinators in Chicago in 4 years, and then he goes to the Steelers. He starts for the first month and a half of the season, and they bench him for Russell Wilson, and obviously their season ended up being all for nothing because they didn't even win a playoff game. It's like, and I go back to what I was saying earlier, the Steelers in the last 2-3 years had plenty of chances to draft someone to take over the spot once Ben retires, and they never did. They did, but it was too late, and by the time they got a guy in there, he was shelled. He had no idea in what's his name, Kenny Pickett. They drafted Kenny Pickett and gave him absolutely no chance, and they shipped him off, 2-3 years in? It's like, at some point, you got to develop a franchise quarterback. You can't just keep going out and signing free agents and expect to ever be able to get back into a Super Bowl contention window.
I have my opinion on that here in a second, but are they still paying Kenny Pickett?
I don't remember off the top of my head. I don't think so. I think that contract's off their books, but they might be paying a little bit. I don't remember.
Because that would, if so, I mean, it's not going to be like much anymore now, but like that would just be adding on to that cap nightmare I was talking about earlier. Because you got 3 starting quarterbacks. Each one is going to want to be paid, and somebody somewhere somehow is going to get mad that someone's getting paid more than they are, and they think, oh well, they're the guy. Everyone in that whole locker room right now thinks they're the guy. And I tell you what, it sucks, being in that position. And I'll admit, Panthers were in that position at some point. We had Sam Darnold, and we had Baker Mayfield on the same roster. I thought it was ridiculous, and now I know we're not the stupidest team in the whole league because now you got the Steelers with like 3 freaking quarterbacks on their roster. And I mean, now you look at Sam Darnold and you look at Baker Mayfield. They didn't go to no Super Bowl or anything, but I mean, you look at how they played, and it's like, oh my gosh, Panthers had that on their roster. Now I'm not saying that's going to happen to the Steelers. I don't know. The NFL is very volatile. It's very random. Anything can happen. But say the Steelers make a stupid decision and just cut all 3 of them. Say they're holding on to them for value. Maybe. I'm not Steelers or anything, but and I doubt they would even think this way. I think they're not smart enough to think that way. Say they're holding on to some quarterbacks for value. They get some picks, and Okay, this is how. Okay, let me get into how I would do it. In this situation, if I had to figure this whole thing out, I think you've got Aaron Rodgers. Like you said, he's got 1 year. He's got 1 year left, maybe two's pushing it. And he is in the perfect position to do what he could. He's in the perfect position to do what he could not do in Green Bay. Well, I think he did, technically, because, I mean, you look at Jordan Love, and he's doing pretty good, in my opinion. And he's in the position to... I don't think Justin Fields really needs much more development, but the extra development would be nice. I think the Steelers have the perfect opportunity to replicate what Green Bay has done. Have a bridge quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, mentor Justin Fields. Then, when Aaron's contract is up, elevate Justin Fields, then find your next guy, and then keep the pattern going. If you want to be serious in this league, I think the Green Bay, kind of what the Ravens have been doing a little bit too. They've kind of picked at it a little bit. I think the way is having a good quarterback and then having a good developmental backup or a good developmental third, and just continue the pattern. And I think the Steelers have the opportunity to bring Aaron Rodgers in, keep Justin Fields. That way, if Aaron Rodgers goes down again, you got a very solid starter behind him. And I hate to say it, I'm not really that big of a Russell fan, but I really like that he's a great guy, great person. But cut Russell Wilson. He's a good quarterback. He'll land somewhere else for a good year, maybe two. But logically, at the end of the day, I hate to say this, but the NFL is a business. And as one of my friends used to tell me, there's business and there's personal. Those two never mix, and they should never mix. And on the business side, logically, this is how I'm thinking. Cut Russell Wilson, bring Aaron Rodgers in, develop a quarterback development powerhouse. I hope Steelers never see this, because you and me both don't want that to happen. But that's how I would do it personally. But it's the Steelers. They're not going to make that call. I don't think there's anybody in that front office who would make a decision like that.
Yeah, it's just a thing that it's like, I just don't. I guess we'll just agree to disagree on this with the whole Aaron Rodgers thing. I just think the amount of drama that he brings with him, the fact that he's very clearly not his old self, I just from a Steelers perspective, if I was a Steelers fan, I would not at all be enthused with the idea of Aaron Rodgers playing for the Steelers next year. But I get what you're saying as far as getting the stopgap. I just don't know if Steelers fans could take another year without a playoff win. It's going on 8 seasons now, 2016, since the last time the Steelers won a playoff game. They're 0-8 in their last 8 playoff games, and I just don't know how much more patient they're willing to be.
Well, actually, we can agree, because I actually do agree with you on there. I was thinking, Aaron Rodgers, because, the logical side, but, personal-wise, I do agree with you. He brings a lot of drama with him. He just brings a whole bunch of unnecessary stuff with him to every single locker room. He got the head coach of the Jets fired, and it's personally, I think that it wasn't the coach. It was honestly Aaron. Being realistic here. Yes, Aaron wasn't in a good position, but that coach had a very good scheme. He had very good play calling, very good defensive mind. They were in some games actually too. I don't know. I agree with you there. I personally think it would make sense if the Steelers didn't bring Aaron Rodgers on. And I mean, look at Russell. I think if they maybe potentially went with Russell for like another year, develop Justin Fields, then which again I still personally don't think he needs any more development. Just continue, just do your thing. Like the Steelers, you do you at the end of the day. But
they're gonna handle it the way they've always handled stuff like this. At the end of the day, I think Steelers fans are getting to a point where they can't take much more playoff failure. They got to start seeing some results.
Yep.
And I think Justin Fields is the way forward. I think he gives them the best chance for that. But
I think Philadelphia is going to start. Not Philadelphia. I think Steelers are going to start turning into Philadelphia soon. Rioting in the streets and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, you mean as far as the fan base? I thought you were talking about the organization.
Oh, no. Fan base wise.
Getting that there, but as far as the fan base,
I think fans are going to start taking the streets, taking light poles down, throwing cars. It's going to take the freaking Avengers to stop it all. But yeah, I hope the Steelers doesn't see this because, well, you know my lifelong dream. I would like, and again, I've said this many times, it's a pipe dream. David Tepper's 80. If I ever make it big sometime in life and make it up there, I would like to buy the Panthers. I would like to see what I could do. I could say, telling just by this conversation, I wouldn't say I'm the smartest in the room when it comes to football. But I could say, like, when it comes to the business minded, because being an NFL owner, and David Tepper, I hope you hear this, should never. I mean, it should be about the football operations, but being an NFL owner also comes with the business mindedness, and an NFL owner should be business focused and fan base focused. And me, I feel like I have that kind of personality to raise a city, I just got that energy, and I have that business mind, which I'm still learning every day as I go. That's what running a business is. But it would be like my dream to just pick the Panthers up and go to some Super Bowls, or even if I never achieve that, I would love to pick up the at least. Something that might be more achievable. The team that's right next to them, the minor league team, Charlotte Knights, maybe pick them up because I've always loved baseball too, of course. Pick them up, win some championships, be the hero of Charlotte. That's just me. That's my dream. So, for that dream's sake, I hope the Steelers doesn't pick any of that up. Because if it ever lined up, if our future ever lined up perfectly, that would be my way to do things. I would be building the quarterback development powerhouse of the NFC South. The Saints and the Buccaneers and the Falcons will all hate us.
Yep.
But anyways, so I guess we're going to head over to our next thing. Pokemon Day, because we opened some Pokemon packs up on our Christmas stream. I was actually trying to read up on this a little bit this morning. So apparently, I think the Direct already happened, or the Pokemon Presents, they call it, already happened. I've been so busy doing all this and the book I've been putting out and all that kind of stuff, so I'm a little bit behind. But from what I could tell, a lot of people were pointing out this morning that, and this might be rumors, this might be leaks, I still don't know yet, that Pokemon Z Alpha did not mention whether it was specific to the Switch 2 or Switch, and that it was coming out later 2025, which makes a lot of people wonder if they're actually going to be releasing Z and Alpha for the Nintendo Switch. I don't know, what right before we get into the whole Pokemon festivities and what we're going to be doing, what do you think?
As far as what again? Sorry.
Do you think based on like the rumors at least, like the release date and all that kind of stuff, do you think Nintendo's releasing Pokemon Z and A on original Switch, or do you think they're just sticking to the Nintendo Switch 2?
Oh, I think they're going to be mass pushing for Switch 2. I think they'll have some stuff that's compatible with Switch 1, but I think that they're going to kind of transition mostly. They're going to do something similar to what they did with the Wii U and the 3DS, where they'll still make games for the Wii, for the original Wii, but they're going to transition mostly towards Wii U and 3DS, the newest console.
You got a point. And that's, that when I seen it this morning, because I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen any present if it's even out yet. I don't know. It's going to sound sad because I'm not a big Pokemon fan. I don't like the cards. I don't do the scalping like all these. I'm not jumping. I'm not pulling a Cam Newton. I'm not pulling a freaking Jalen Hurts and jumping the whole freaking crowd to get to Pokemon cards or anything. But like, I do like the games. I appreciate the games. I love the games. The storytelling. That's what I like. That's why I will love anything in life. It's the story behind it. Because at the end of the day, I'm always up for a good story. Learning life lessons and all that kind of stuff. I thought it came off. I mean, not gonna lie, it came off as rumors, and I think, like what you said, I think they're going to make. I think they might even do what they did with the new Nintendo 3DS and Nintendo 3DS, where you had specific games to and even the DS to the Nintendo 3DS. You had like 3DS cartridges with that little notch on there, so you couldn't put it in Nintendo DS, and even people cut that off and try it anyways. But Nintendo's always done that, so I think they're going to continue that tradition. But you never know. Nintendo kind of broke tradition by calling it the Nintendo Switch 2 instead of like the Super Nintendo Switch, which I personally think would have sounded much cooler. But anyways, but you got a point. It came off as rumors, and I don't know. But speaking of Nintendo 3DS, I have my traditions when it comes to Pokemon Day. I have had my 3DS. I've had my Switch. I sadly don't have a Game Boy anymore, and I don't have a Nintendo DS because you can play those games on the Virtual Console on the Switch these days. So it doesn't really make sense. If you're paying for like Nintendo Switch Online, why try to go after, get your black hoodie on and go in the dark web just to pay ridiculous prices for like a DS or something when you could just easily access those games on your Switch. But I have my 3DS. I do have my original games. I make it a tradition every year. I get back into like Pokemon Alpha, Alpha Sapphire. I play Pokemon X and Y. I start there, and then I'll work my way up to the new stuff. I'll play Pokemon Sword and Shield, and I'll play Arceus, and now now that Nintendo Music's out, every day I've made it my mission to try to get some exercise. So I'll do an afternoon walk and I'll do an evening walk. And of course, I'm a big music guy, so I got music playing. I'll either pick between Spotify or Nintendo Music. And, now that we've got Nintendo Music, you have a lot of Pokemon music on there. So, to this afternoon's walks, this morning's walk, because I had to get ready for the podcast, was Pokemon music. My favorite right now is the Pokemon Sword. I think it's Pokemon Violet, Red and Violet title screen song, because there's a part in it it's just so amazing to me. And of course, like some other stuff like the Pokemon gym music and one of everybody's favorites, of course, the Pokemart music and the Pokestop music and all that kind of stuff. So that's just my festivities. I don't go all out. This is how, and I'm gonna cheese off a lot of freaking Pokemon card fans here. I don't really care about a piece of cardboard. Don't get me wrong, I collect them just like everybody else. But I'm not gonna go ape shit crazy over them because, it's a cardboard. It's something, like, I do have a Charizard card from Obsidian Flames. It is displayed. But at the end of the day, that thing is just sitting in a display case. I could sell it for some money later on if I really wanted to, but I'm more of a sentimental person, so I like to hold on to the things I want to collect. Like my, big Skyrim fan. I've got a shield that I got from Bethesda that's like a 325 out of 500. That doesn't mean anything to me because I could sell that for a lot of money if I really wanted to. But to me, I don't care. Like, to me, these things, as valuable as they are, I see them as... I've always been the kind of person that wants to immerse myself in video games, immerse myself in these worlds, and that's how, I build my company. That I built Sagamatic the same way. I want to help people immerse themselves in my stories and create these amazing worlds. And having these items like the shield and the cards, that's just my way of, like, immersing myself. Everything else, I don't care. And it's just... It doesn't make sense to me why people are going crazy over Pokemon cards. But anyways, to me, the tradition has always been to play the games, listen to the music, watch the anime, and it's Pokemon Day. So that's what my festivities are all about. What do you do for Pokemon Day, Alex?
I honestly don't really have anything I do. It's a cool thing. Obviously, Pokemon, I think everyone at some point has had a Pokemon phase in their childhood, whether it's the trading cards or whether it's the show, watching the show, or whether it's the video games. I never got into Pokemon nearly as much as most people, but I still had a couple games I would play on the 3DS and whatnot, so my memories with it are still fond, even though they're not as emotionally impactful to me as, like I said, with most people, with most kids. I don't have anything specific I do, but Pokemon is always cool. So
you got a point. I will admit I did get into that phase, where it's like, oh my gosh, Pokemon and everything. But now it's like, yes, I do still very much appreciate Pokemon, really much, but only for like certain aspects, like the storytelling, the adventure, like everything I appreciate is for the story, for the music. Anything else, and playing with friends, that's even more fun, like battling friends and all that kind of stuff. But everything else, it's like what the heck, man? There's so many other things I'd be doing right now. But Pokemon Day is going around. I hope a lot of you guys are having a fun Pokemon Day. It's it's Pokemon Day, so just go out there, have a blast, battle your friends in Pokemon Go and take on the world and catch them all. Okay, meme coins. Do I have to? They're everywhere. Everybody and their freaking dog and son is making a meme coin. Before I get, because I just think it's a joke, before I get into it, what do you think about meme coins?
Well, first of all, I've never been big into cryptocurrency. It's just not my thing.
Good. You are saving yourself a whole world of pain.
Oh, I know it. But it is goofy to see. It's funny to see how, especially because it's sort of like Bitcoin was the first wave. Like the rise of Bitcoin was the first wave of that sort of thing.
Which I can say, Bitcoin is stable, technically.
Yeah.
If there were going to be a decentralized coin in the future, but
yeah. Right. That's the one that feels like it's pretty much always going to be relevant. But that sort of started the wave, and then a few years back, you start to see the NFTs, which I'm not surprised at all that those faded to nothing, because that's just, the concept is just stupid, but that's for another day. And then now you see all of these different meme coins. You see the Pop to a, whatever that one was called, pop up, and that was a scam. And you see, I think, was it Logan Paul that was trying to launch one a few years back, and that was a scam. And just all this other stuff. So it just feels like a big joke to me. I don't have any care. It'll pop up across my timeline, and I'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, that seems about par for the course. Or there's another one popping up, and it's gonna fade away pretty quick.
Becca's calling me.
Oh.
I have to tell her.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going. I'm gonna have to. I should turn my ringer off. Whoopsie me. Hold on one sec. Streaming
as far as the crypto
Alex.
thing goes. Yeah, as far as the crypto thing goes, I've never bought into it. It's just always
okay.
seems like a scam.
I'll admit, and this is why I see the pattern. I know the pattern. It's gonna sound like a complete meme. I know a thing or two because I've seen a thing or two. I got into the Dogecoin, yes.
We are farmers.
We are farmers. Dun 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 dun. But I got into it. I got into the Dogecoin. I seen the vision from my perspective. I was hyped up. It's how I am. It's how I've always been. Hyped up by the community, peer pressure, that sort of thing. But I've kind of grown since then. Yeah, Dogecoin to the moon. It's getting ready to go to $1, and everybody's gonna make millions. No, that's not how it went. I got 20 cents my name after I think I invested like $200 into that thing.
Yep.
Well,
that seems about right.
Because there's a very, very there's two patterns, and this is how the crypto markets become. And it's sad to say this, and if you're thinking about investing in a coin, hear me out, because don't do it. Just don't do it, because there's two things. You have a community. It's almost like Etch-a-Sketch. They're going to try to draw out, like Dogecoin, they're going to try to manipulate the coin's value to draw something out, or in Doge's case, do things like 69 and 420, which 420 would have been nice if it had $4.20, but never did. They're going to try to draw the little doggy. It's all a joke. I'm just telling you right now, those meme coins are doing something very specific, and you're going to lose a lot of money. There's that. And then you have the pump and dumps. You've got people, which I don't delve into public stock trading that much, but you've got people that are manipulating the stock to their advantage. They pump a whole bunch of coins, and then they dump a whole bunch of coins, and they can control the market like that. You say, for instance, okay, I'm not going to use real names because I don't like starting stuff, but like Tony Stark launches a crypto coin, and all of a sudden he says something, and the coin just raises in value, and he doesn't like where it's going. He does something to just change the trajectory, just like that, and then it goes down. Everybody got their hopes up, and they put a lot of money into this thing. The people at the top, very much like a pyramid scheme, made a lot of money, and the people all at the bottom lose it out. And I'm telling you, I can go into a whole theory. I really can when it comes to cryptocurrency, but don't do it. It's not worth it. I think the concept behind a decentralized coin is efficient, because you look at Star Wars and you have Imperial credits. Even though the Empire falls, Imperial credits still held their value. If you want that Star Wars world, you're going to want a true decentralized coin, not something that can be manipulated. And I think you do that by encryption, all that kind of stuff. So, and there should only be one or two coins. I think, and the same reason NFTs failed, and the same reason the video game market almost crashed back with Atari, you have an oversaturation of coins. And if you just keep oversaturating and oversaturating and oversaturating, I think we're getting to a dangerous level where crypto might be a thing of the past. So I think, you know, I hope it stops and they pause the race, because you look at NFTs, oversaturated, now look where it's at. So, yeah, don't do it. That's me and Alex's advice. It's not worth it. You'll lose a lot of money. You're better putting your stuff. Again, this is not financial advice. We don't do that. We're not financial experts by no means. But you're better off putting it in something secure. That's for sure. So we're going to finish off on our little note. What's some? I'll let you start off, because I haven't really been on TikTok all that much. What's the craziest and funniest TikTok challenge you've seen to date?
I'm honestly not really on TikTok that much. I'll just see some of the memes. That
doesn't
pop
have to
off.
even be TikTok. It could be like reels you've seen, or like a short you've seen, or like in general, what's the craziest trend you've seen? I don't know either. I'm gonna have to think of something on the spot. I might just say I might personally.
Really.
I might personally just say I seen Donkey Kong, a guy climbing a skyscraper with a Donkey Kong suit. That's not real, but I can make it illegal.
No, I don't know. I've never, even since TikTok launched, I've never been like, how do I say it? I've always watched more of like the memes that have developed from like TikTok and stuff, as opposed to the challenges. Just because the challenges thing, I've always been a natural introvert, and just going out in public and doing stupid stuff and risking getting attacked, assaulted or whatever for just a silly video. Like, there's been actual people that have died, and just doing TikTok challenges and pranking people and all that, and it's literally caused them to get killed. And it's like, I just don't think it's worth it. But I say all that just to say I've never been into the whole challenges side of TikTok.
Yeah.
And that I've always just kind of been like, I have my own little niche of stuff that shows up on my feed, and then I'll laugh at some of the funny stuff that shows up once in a while, which
I agree with
is
you.
getting increasingly more infrequent as TikTok is becoming more and more just brain rot garbage.
Which I hope, very similar to that crypto thing, I hope it doesn't start heading that direction too much, because it'll be an oversaturation of content. Then you'll have a whole content creator crash, which I don't want that to happen. But anyways, so stupidest trend I've seen. It's not even a dangerous trend. It's just something annoying and really crazy. Trends in general are just crazy to me. But like, I seen a trend. This is when TikTok was getting banned, and not in the app stores, where you get somebody's phone and delete TikTok off their phone, and then it's like, oh, dude, I mean, come on. It's like, that's not cool. You wouldn't want somebody to get your phone and delete your TikTok app. Like,
Can you imagine right now the people that went and bought an unlocked phone with TikTok off of a scalper for like 3 days that TikTok was down, and like had to pay top dollar for a phone that still had TikTok on it just for it to come back? Like, those people have to be so upset. I hearing about that and just
was literally just getting ready to say that. I was getting ready to be like, yeah, you got all these people selling their phones for $5,000. Even at some point, GameStop was like, "Oh, we're going to pay top dollar for your cell phone. We'll give you a PS5 for free. We'll give you the whole works." And it's like, oh, GameStop must even feel stupid for that too.
Well, GameStop's a whole other can of worms.
That's a whole that could be a whole podcast episode someday.
Yeah.
But it just goes back to that scalper thing too. That too can be a whole podcast episode. It just doesn't make sense to me. Why waste your life? Why waste your time? Because time, as much as a lot of people say, oh, time is illusion, time is... No, time is money. No, and not even like literally. Time is money. Your time is more valuable than you expect. Or than you No. How you should view time is your time should be so valuable to you, you should treat it as if it were your personal bank account. Because you should see yourself as a valuable thing where every single second, every single minute, every single hour is important. It's crucial. It's the key to where you want to go to in life. And to just gamble all that away and throw all that away on something pointless like scalping, okay, how are you making a difference in the world? How are you making a difference? How are you making a change in this tiny universe, in this tiny little globe? You're like this tiny little speck out of this whole universe. How, and I hate to be like philosophical, but I like having conversations like this sometimes. How are you making a difference by going to a Costco, going to a Walmart, beating up some like grandma that's, you know, trying to get a pack of cards for her son, getting into freaking fights, jumping over people, so you could go and sell some cards for like $10,000, you know, sell a phone for like $5,000, and for what? So you can make a quick buck. Okay, now you made the money. What? Now what? Now what? Where did you get value from that? Okay, yeah, you got money. Cool. But later on down, when it's 1,000 years later, you know, new world, future, new technology, nobody's going to remember that. Nobody's going to remember that Joe Schmo fought a whole crowd for some Pokemons for $5,000. No, I don't know. That could be, like I said, that could be a whole BCV episode. But, anyways, we're out of time for today. We really freaking like appreciate you guys for showing up to the live version of this. The video will be out tomorrow on both YouTube and Spotify. I have done it in the past where I will edit same day and put it on YouTube. So like it would be on YouTube today technically, but then on Spotify tomorrow. But I think I'm going to change that with the way I have my streaming schedule now. Because I still got a short to edit. I still got a TikTok to edit. I still got things to put out today. So VOD will be available on YouTube and Spotify tomorrow. But thank you for like showing out to the live version. That is like so freaking amazing to us. We will be back for the next one. If you want to follow my amazing face and everything. Here is my Discord. I don't have my link tree yet, but it's Jacobshadowminer on everything. Alex's, you can go ahead and drop your link in the chat below, but he is Rocketman on everything as well. So if you want to like follow his amazing person, just the most amazing person you've ever met on Twitch and like content in general, go follow him because he's freaking amazing. But anyways, guys, it has been real. It has been fun. And make sure you hit that follow button. And hit that follow button for Alex.
Rate 5 stars on Spotify.
And 5 big booms. Boom, 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 boom. Anyways, guys, it's been fun. It's been real. You guys are freaking amazing. And I love every single one of you guys.